y'all, welcome to another episode of Boss Up and Glow Up with Lexi Sample. In this podcast, we discuss strategies on how to build confidence, overcome challenges, and just become the overall best self that you can be. Procrastination is that sneaky habit that holds us back from reaching our full potential. Procrastination is very fucking easy to do, and so many of us do it and so many of us struggle with it. It's so easy to get distracted these days, especially with all the technology that we have and all the distractions that we have going on. I say I'm going to get something done, and then somehow, some way, I end up scrolling on that sneaky little app called TikTok for hours and hours and hours and completely push off anything that I said I had to do. It's fucking awful. It's insane. Today, we're going to discuss how to overcome procrastination and actually get shit done and grind. Why do we even procrastinate? Like, what causes us to procrastinate? I feel like a huge reason why we end up procrastinating without even realizing it is because it's often a way to avoid discomfort or anxiety associated with a task. We always say, oh, I'll get to it later, only to find ourselves in a vicious, scary cycle of delay, and then we regret it later because we didn't get anything done. And then we're finishing our tasks in a rush and become super stressed out about it because when we're rushing to get things done, they're not going to get done as effectively as they would if we actually took the time and had things scheduled out and did things correctly. But since we push things back, we're like, oh shit, this is due in like an hour. Now I got to get this all done in an hour. Then we're going to regret our work and we didn't do our full potential of the work. We need to figure out how to get out of this vicious cycle. A huge reason that makes me procrastinate, I feel like, is because I see a long list of things I need to get done. I see everything all written out, and then I get really stressed out and overwhelmed by that long list of things. Maybe we should start breaking up all these huge tasks into smaller, manageable tasks. I like to call this chunking. This helps reduce overwhelm and causes us to actually get things done by seeing things in smaller tasks. When you see this huge, long list of things you need to get done, it can be very stressful, and then we ignore it, and then we get overwhelmed, and then we push it back because it's just such a long list of things. And we're like, oh my God, how the fuck am I going to complete all this in a day? Because I see this entire thing. Maybe instead just break it up a little bit, and then maybe it won't feel as overwhelming. I feel like we honestly overwhelm ourselves by having way too many things to do in one singular day. Another approach we should take a look at and address is the root cause of our procrastination. Are we afraid of failure? Perfection? Do we have lack of motivation? By realizing our underlying causes, we can develop targeted solutions to overcome them and tackle them head on. Because if we don't know what's causing us to procrastinate and we don't know why we're getting stressed out about these things, maybe we're not going to be able to fix it. Maybe we're not going to make a change. If we know the reason why, we may be able to fix it and figure it the fuck out and prevent it happening from the next time we have to do a bunch of stuff. A good technique that I have seen so many people use, I've seen this on TikTok all over social media, and it's called like the 2-minute rule, which is pretty simple. If a task only takes you maybe like 2 minutes or less to complete, or it's like a really short task, bang that out first. Do it right away. This will help you build the momentum and eliminate the excuse of not enough time. If you're banging everything out that takes you the least amount of time, it'll give you the entire day, the whole rest of the day, to focus on the tasks that are taking you the longest. It's so easy to say you don't have enough time, when in reality, you have plenty of time. You're just making excuses and you don't want to do it or you don't feel like doing it. Which honestly, I really don't blame you because half the time, I don't want to do it either. But guess what? We need to get shit done. We need to grind. We need to ball out. If we want to be rich, we want to be successful, we need to stop procrastinating and bang out our tasks. I also think if you don't have a set deadline for something, you need to create your own deadlines, which will create accountability for you. Write these deadlines in your calendar and actually stick to them. If I see a deadline or if I see that I have a deadline for something, it's going to actually make me do the task. Even if the date is completely made up, I'm not going to remember which dates are made up and which dates are real because I see so many due dates for things and so many deadlines for things. If I see that I need to get something done by a certain date, it tricks my brain to thinking that that deadline is real, and I'm not going to know which one's real or not. So it's going to make me actually complete the task. So if I write all these deadlines in my calendar, it's going to make me get things done. I start to believe I need to get that task done in that specific amount of time or by that certain date. It's honestly so helpful. I just started doing that recently because like a lot of the stuff I do, I don't have specific deadlines per se. I mean, some things I do, but I do need to get things done in a certain amount of time, but not by a certain date. So I started making fake deadlines for myself to make sure I'm actually getting things done, because deadlines honestly are so helpful. Because if I didn't have a deadline, I would just be like, oh, I don't need to do this. I don't want to do this. It doesn't need to be done by a certain time. Girl, yes, it does. Write that deadline, put it in your calendar, and it'll trick your brain to get it done. I think setting these fake deadlines are great. I like to use them to trick my mind and forces me to actually hold myself accountable. If you have a list of deadlines just written out, it'll make sure that you're getting everything completed. We really need to start holding ourselves accountable, because a lot of times we're really not holding ourselves accountable. I know it's really hard with the numerous distractions that we have and the numerous distractions that we come across, but we will never get things done if we're not holding ourselves accountable. And I really think setting these deadlines and having deadlines for things is the best possible way to make sure we are holding ourselves accountable. Because if we see we need to do something by a certain date, why would we not do it? You know, it's like common sense. Why would we not do it if we see we need this done by a specific date or time? It's hard because sometimes these things take way longer than we expected them to do, and it takes way longer than a day to complete it. And then we've been working on this task all day, and then it's like coming up time for bed, and we're like, shit, I am nowhere near done. I didn't finish everything I wanted to finish today. And then we start to get down on ourselves for it. We start to get unproductive. We start to get stressed out. This is what I have started doing. If I don't finish something that I really wanted to get done in a day, I just move it on to the next day. But the catch is, that is the very first thing I have to do the next day, since I was supposed to get it done the day prior. It's a catch, but it honestly will help you get it done, because if you do that first before everything else, it still keeps your schedule kind of in order. I know it sucks to have to do that sometimes, and it really sucks that you have to push things back again, and it'll make your next day longer, but sometimes these tasks take way longer than we anticipated, and we can't do anything about it. We just have to figure out how to make sure we still end up getting that thing done, because we do not want to procrastinate any longer. And honestly, in a situation like this, it's not really procrastination. We just weren't able to finish it in the amount of time that we really wanted to, and we tried our hardest to get it done. It just didn't happen, and that's okay. Guess what? Tomorrow's a new day, new beginnings. Put that thing first and make sure you get it done. Do not be like, oh, I couldn't get this done today, so forget it. I'm not going to do it. Scratch it and throw it out the window. Do not do that. You still need to make sure you're going to get that thing done, because whether it's for work or whether it's a personal thing, either way, you wrote that down on your calendar. That's important to you. Do not give up on it just because you weren't able to finish it in the amount of time that you wanted to get it done. Just move it to the next day. Don't get down on yourself. I wouldn't call you a procrastinator, especially in a situation like that. You tried to get everything done. You just weren't able to get to it. You were grinding all day, banging everything else out. You just weren't able to get to that last and final task. And guess what? That's fine. It happens. It's completely normal. We're human. We're not robots. Things are going to get in the way, whether it's families, pets, or just time. Like, things take longer than we plan sometimes, and we just weren't able to get that done. And that's okay. Tomorrow's a new day. We need to reschedule it for another time to make sure we get it completed. We just need to make sure we're still holding ourselves accountable enough to make sure we are 100% going to get to that task the next day. Because we missed it the previous day. That task is now our number one priority for tomorrow. A huge thing that I struggle with and that causes me to procrastinate so freaking much is that I have so many distractions. And my biggest distraction is my phone, which of course is probably everyone's biggest distraction, which sucks because I work on my phone like half of the time. So what I have to do is I need to turn off my notifications, DND, and if I absolutely need my phone, I'll use it, but I try to keep my phone away in a different room. And if I can use my computer for certain things, I'll use my computer. But I keep my phone on silent except for my business line because I have 2 lines. One's for real estate, one's my personal. But I try to keep my personal phone off when I'm trying to work, and I'll leave my business phone on in case I get a business call. But it's really hard because sometimes I just want to go on my phone. But if I'm trying to get work done, I cannot be on my phone or it'll never, ever get done. If I have my personal phone in the room with me when I'm trying to get work done, I'll start answering all my friends. I'll start answering the texts. And then I'll mosey on over to Snapchat and start answering people on there. And then maybe view some stories here and there. And then we go to the most dangerous app of all. TikTok. Once I open that damn app, I cannot stop scrolling. I don't know what crack is in that app, but I get stuck in a rabbit hole of constant scrolling. And this is why I have to leave my phone in a completely different room to prevent me from opening fucking TikTok. And guess what? I will start to use that as a reward for when I get my things done. I'll be like, oh yeah, I finished all of my tasks for today. So I get to now reward myself and scroll on the best app ever, TikTok. What's everybody doing? And then I'll start scrolling and checking in with the world to see what everyone's up to because I finished all my tasks for the day. Creating a little system of rewards for completing your tasks and meeting your deadlines, it celebrates your accomplishments. No matter how small they are, it'll help you reinforce the positive behavior and motivate you to just keep on going. I like to reward myself with TikTok, like I said. I love my TikTok time. I get so excited to finish everything that I needed to do because then I get to unwind and scroll on my phone, and I look forward to my TikTok time. It's entertaining for me, and I actually learn so much on that silly little app. Like, I feel like people think, oh, TikTok is stupid. I learned so much on there. Every day, I learn a new life hack, and I end up implementing it in my daily life. But I cannot have my TikTok time until all my work has been completed. So I mainly do my scrolling when I'm laying in bed at night and I'm just unwinding. Instead of watching TV at night like a lot of people do, I use that as my TikTok time, which honestly, I feel like nowadays, a lot of people do the same thing. I feel like right before bed is everyone's little TikTok time because that's when everyone's active online. Because what else are you going to do? You're in bed waiting to go to sleep. But what another thing is difficult for me to do is getting off the app when it's time for bed. Because I'll scroll for like a few hours and then I won't sleep. So that's another thing I need to work on is making sure I give myself a time limit, honestly, on TikTok. So I end up getting sleep too. Because yes, I got everything done for the night, but I still need to make sure I'm getting a good amount of sleep. Like 8 hours is hard to get every single night. I try to do 8 hours, but 6 to 8 is realistic because sometimes I have an early morning. So I just need to make sure I'm only scrolling on that app for a certain amount of time and I actually go the fuck to bed at a decent time so I'm not a bitch tomorrow. Time management is also very important when it comes to not procrastinating. Time blocking is a great way to help you manage your time effectively. If you're blocking out certain times for things, it'll help you stay focused and productive. This kind of goes along with setting the deadline thing that we've discussed previously. If you're blocking scheduled times out for things, it's going to help you so much. I work from home most of the time, so I like to put myself on these little shifts just to make sure I'm getting things done. I know my work from home people can relate when I say getting distracted is super easy. We have our phones right at our fingertips. Our pets are right there. It's so tempting to just turn on the TV. And my dog just always wants to play. And I'm like, oh, I'm home. I should be playing with you, but I'm working. And I just want to play with her. There's just endless distractions when you're at home, which is why I kind of made this room in here like my little workspace and my office. So that way I have my dog in the living room, my phone's in the living room, everything is in the living room. No distractions are in this room while I'm working. And this is my workspace. We need to separate our workspace from our home space. And I will not leave this room until my work for the day is complete. We also need to explore the importance of a growth mindset. If your main reason for procrastinating is because you're just afraid of failure or setting yourself back or just messing something up or making a mistake, we need to realize that these mess ups are opportunities for growth and learning. By changing your perspective, we can turn all these obstacles into stepping stones towards success. We need to remember that without all these little stepping stones or failures, we can't learn or grow without messing up sometimes. It's natural. We need to have these little setbacks in order to learn because nothing is 100% perfect all the time. No one is perfect. There's going to be mistakes and you'll learn from them and you'll grow from them. We have to stop pushing things back just because we're scared of the outcome and we don't want to know what the outcome's going to be. We just need to get things done. And if it doesn't work out or if the outcome isn't what we wanted it to be, at least we learned something from it. It's not going to be a waste of time. We need to use this as an opportunity to give ourselves feedback and figure out exactly what we need to do to better ourselves and make this thing better the next time around. Because if we don't, we're just going to end up giving up, and we don't want to give up just because we made a little mistake. We learned a little bit, and guess what? Now that we learned, we can perfect it since we had that little mistake. It's also kind of hard to not procrastinate because I have ADHD. I get so distracted with literally anything. Like a bird can fly past my window and I'll stare at it for a little bit and be like, wow, I wonder where it's going. I wonder what it's doing. And I'll get in my thoughts about what the fuck this bird's doing. And it gets bad. Like I will not get things done just because I see something. Like I need to be in a room with no distractions. Like I have to close my windows. I need to make sure there's no technology in the room. I need to make sure everything is out of the room or I am going to get distracted. Even sometimes with my pencil, I'll start playing with my pencil because I'm trying to get distracted. And I hate that I'm that way, but I was always that way. Like in middle school and high school, I would always just mess with my pencils. I would scribble on paper because I just could not pay attention. I would literally just like color in the lines of my line paper and do nothing, just draw and color. And sometimes I would just get up to throw paper away just because I couldn't sit down any longer. I've always been so easily distracted, and I hate that I'm like that. So I need to trap myself in a room with absolutely no distractions so I can actually get shit done. As we start to wrap up today's episode, I just want to leave you with this little thought. Overcoming procrastination is not a one-time event or thing. It's a lifelong journey, and by implementing the things that we've talked about in today's episode consistently and with patience, we can break out of this disgusting habit of procrastination and unleash our full potential. And we're going to grind and get shit done. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Boss Up and Glow Up. I hope you found this episode a little bit helpful and you start to use these strategies to help you get shit done and not procrastinate so much. Remember, you have the power to overcome procrastination, and you have the power to create the life that you desire. Until next time, keep taking action and chase your dreams. I will see you next week. Bye.